Hello, folks. Hope you all are staying safe. On behalf of TiE Mumbai, we would like to welcome you all to a unique, entertaining, and educative sensory workshop on the concepts of sensory evaluation and live food tasting. This session is focused on the appreciation and recognition of food with regards to its appearance, aroma, texture, taste, and sound. I'm sure you guys have received all the docket beforehand itself. And in order to save time, I would like to hand it over to the TagTaste team who have been kind enough to do this for us. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Over to you guys.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. I'm Rajpreeti Sabharwal, and I'm heading the sensory team at TagTaste. And it is an absolute pleasure for TagTaste and for me personally also to be doing this session for you. And I hope you enjoy it. It is supposed to be more of an educative session, but we try and make it entertaining as well. So this is something like we asked you to collect all the normal things which are probably already at home, or you might have maybe a different brand of biscuit you use, so you had to buy a different one. But they are all commonplace. There is nothing exotic in them. There is nothing exotic or very hi-fi about them. So with these normal things, what we're trying to bring about is the awareness that you have been eating it all your life, but you did not realize this aspect of it at all. Why is it important? See, this is one session. If we take it to the college students who are into food technology or culinary students, we use words like sensory, workshop, evaluation. But for you, we'll be happy to call it, you can just say it like language to describe food. And why is this important, the language to describe food? Well, what has happened is that the pace of the life has picked up. It's become so fast that most of us, we are doing many multiple things at the same time. Especially as far as eating goes, it happens along with the messages on the phone or anything like that. As a result, what happens is we tend to eat more, and it is leading to all kinds of problems. Because COVID has happened, the realization that we are unnecessarily eating has come into our lives. Realization that too much of salt, too much of sugar has also come into our lives. The government has always been concerned about it because the world over we are known as the diabetic capital. But somehow it was not percolating down. Everybody continues to want to eat things which are very tasty, and at the expense of certain things, we are getting those, the things are being made tasty. So awareness is coming in now. People are wanting to pop in a piece of chocolate and look at the wrapper at the back as to see how much sugar is there. With this thing, we realize that this is a session we must take it to the common man also. Because when common man gets connected with food, the way we are teaching you, you can call it connection with the food, you can call it language to describe food. You are actually able to, assess what is happening inside your mouth. You pause with the food. You spend more time when the food is inside your mouth. You are conscious, you get connected to that food. And what does it mean? You are eating slowly and with small quantity of food, lesser than compared to what you were eating before. You are satisfied because it is not about only filling your tummy. The way our brain functions is this, that the senses capture the stimuli from the food that we are looking at and even eating. When it is still inside our mouth, the senses are capturing the stimuli and sending it to brain. And it is the brain, which comes into function. If the brain is happy, you can say that you are happy. If the brain is satisfied, you are satisfied. So it is not so much about quantity of the food, but it is so much about what that food is about, to give you the satiation and, most important, the satiety. So this is important. We take this session, we have taken it to blind people also in Mumbai through Rotary, And that was a session I had to do in Hindi. I enjoyed doing in Hindi. That was one time I realized I felt bad that I didn't know Marathi. I would have done that session in Marathi also. So, see, this is about daily food. This is the point I'm trying to make. So, it's time to start the session, and we are going to use the slides, but the focus should not be on the slides. We will share it with Trupti later in case you want some material to refer to later on. You should have that material. But I will be happy if you are going to connect with me. I will be doing certain actions because it is important not only to connect with the food, it is important today to connect with your senses. Anatomy of most of the things which are lying in the face, you need to connect with that. So it will not happen. It's not a college session where you look at what is happening on the screen. That is not the point. It is an interactive session. You interact with your senses. You interact with the food. And if you have questions, please feel free and interact with us also with your questions. So it is time to open the salts. We had requested you to arrange 3 salts: the black salt, the pink salt, and the white salt. Keep them ready with you. But before we go with any object, anything to eat, we are going to understand the basis of how we form perceptions. It can be about food, it can be about anything, but the fundamental principle is the same, that our 5 senses, as you see on the screen, they capture the stimuli and then they transmit it to the brain. And in the brain, next slide, please, in the brain, it mixes with what we already have in the brain. All of us have memory in the brain. So it mixes with memory, the stimuli and the memory on the screen. You can see that there is a blue brain in the center and there are 5 senses surrounding it. They are capturing, the arrows are downward, they're capturing the stimuli, sending it to the brain, and inside the brain, the stimuli, they mix with memory and then they form the perception. Whether it is delicious, succulent, biting, delectable, zesty, acerbic, luscious, caustic, dry, sweet and sour, tasteless, whatever you want to say about it, it is not just about your sense organ. It is about the memory. Memory is very essential. So we call this chain of perception. Whether it is food or a book you are reading, whether it is a pen you are feeling in your hand, whether it is a new iPhone you have gone to try out in the store, this is the way that our brain, our body functions, the senses function. So now, the word memory is what we are going to focus on, the relation between memory and perception. This is very important. We have a simple story here, and this is most important for all the mothers in the household because it's mostly the mothers who are responsible for giving milk to the children or even your staff. But it is the mother who decides whether she's going to add sugar to the milk or not. So there are 3 friends, Nemat, Ravi, and Aryan. They are around 80 years old. One day, they all had a glass of milk each at Nemat's house because they were playing at her house in the evening. All 3 glasses of milk had the same quantity of sugar. That is, sugar means added sugar, means 1 teaspoon. Ravi found the milk to be too sweet. Well, it was Nemat's house, you see. And what was Nemat's reaction? It's perfect. Ravi with the red hair found the milk to be too sweet, and Aryan found the milk to be less sweet, almost bland. Why did it happen? There are 2 things which are happening here. The first thing, in addition to memory, there is one thing which is happening here. Let's talk about that thing. That is that all 3 kids, they are from different households. All 3 kids have got a different genetic makeup, and hence they have got different number of taste buds on their tongue. They also have a different memory because now we come to the memory. Okay, so now the thing is that the guy who is finding it too sweet is probably having milk at home without any added sugar. He's used to that. And it doesn't mean that he finds that milk bland. No, he finds the milk without added sugar also to be sweet. And the other kid is Aryan, who is finding it bland. Why is he finding it bland? Because he's probably used to having 2 teaspoons of added sugar in his milk every day. This is where the memory kicks in. They have a pre-memory, a prior memory about the level of sweetness associated with milk. The perception is already formed, and whatever they are drinking is going to be assessed against that perception. We have to understand today as Indians that there are so many things in nature which are already sweet provided by the nature. Wherever the word O's comes, not only glucose, the fruits have got fructose and the milk has got lactose. So that awareness within all of us as adults is very important, and we must teach it to our kids also, that wherever they find the word O's, they should look for natural sweetness. So next we take up appearance. Now is the time we'll be interacting with the first product, the salts. Appearance is very simple, easy to understand. All of us know it is our eyes that capture the stimulus. They capture the stimulus and they send it to the brain. Okay, so if I have, suppose, this glass in my hand. Now, since this glass is from my household, well, I know this is the glass which I bought from, okay, this particular shop and all that. But when you're looking at it, you might say, I've never seen this shape of the glass before, or this appears on the screen to be big, but maybe it is small. So many things come to your mind. And what is the basis of these things coming to your mind? The basis is, again, the stimulus added with the memory is giving the perception. So, how tricky perception can be as far as the vision is concerned is what I'm going to tell you using the salts. Here I have got the white salt, normal, sodium chloride with iodine. And when we see it in the form of crystals, we always think that it is the sea salt. And there are many kinds of salt. We are dealing with 3 only out here. Then what I have in my hand is the Himalayan pink salt. The level of pinkness can differ. It is not white is what is telling me that it is pink. Okay, now I know for sure that this is Himalayan pink salt, so I'm calling it pink Himalayan pink salt. And this one for sure I know, although the color is not very different, it is so much like the Himalayan pink salt, and yet it has got a nomenclature to it that this is the black salt. These are the powdered forms of the salt, right? Here I will show you. Here I have in my hand, well, you can say, yes, it is a piece, rock-like piece. So it is rock salt and it looks black, so it is black salt. Well, your perception about calling it the black salt is absolutely correct. But when your perception is that it is the rock salt, this is what I'm going to question. I will not say perception is right or wrong. We do not believe in it. We always say the perception of that particular person is correct because it is based on the memory. So if you're in your memory, something which looks like a rock has to be rock salt, it is fine. But if we go scientifically and see, it is different. How is it different? Rock word, what is the meaning of the rock word? Means there will be mines of it. And the mining has to be done, and then you get the big chunks, and from the big chunks you break it down and you get the smaller chunks. Well, it is the Himalayan pink salt, which is the actual rock salt, because we find the mines as you see on the screen, and from those, because of mining, we get these bigger chunks, and then they get broken down into smaller chunks, and finally the powder we get. What about the black salt then? How come I see it in the rock form? I shouldn't see it in this form. But this is man-made rock. So we won't call it a rock. There is no mining to be done. How do we make it? Since time immemorial, I would love it if somebody can and knows it and tell me. I am yet to do my research, but I feel that probably the Mohenjo-daro Harappan civilization would have got it. We have been eating this combination of sodium, chloride, and sulfur from a long time. And how were they making it? As you see on the screen, you see there is an earthen pot, and that pitcher used to be filled with sodium chloride and sulfur and sealed and thrown into the kilns. At very, very high temperatures, they would just melt down and fuse together to form what we call as black salt. Okay, so most of us love black salt, isn't it? And the moment we hear the word or we smell it, especially the moment we smell it, what happens? The chaat comes into the mind, especially for the women. We love it. The golgappa, ka pani, the papadi chaat, and the raj kachori and whatnot. You will get the whole gamut of the chaats. And mouth starts watering. What are these? These are signs of liking it, loving it, extremely loving it, you know. But if I tell a white person who has not been brought up in India, who comes visiting to your place, and you are so excited about, taking that person around for the street food and sharing whatever you like, you have to be careful. You really cannot, make them eat the chaat. Most probably, they will not like it. Why? So please smell the black salt now. I have told you that sulfur goes into it and you will smell sulfur. So those of you who are from the scientific background sitting here, and others also, all of us in the school, we have read it and seen. So this sulfur is actually called in our books as the rotten egg smell. So this is where your upbringing, this is where your society, this is where your community comes into the picture. So the perception changes. The first perception example I gave was what looks like a rock is not technically a rock. And the second perception I'm telling you is that if you like it, your perception is that this is wonderful. It differs from the perception of the person who's been brought up differently, and you have to understand that. So that's why no two people should have the same perception. Now, when we do the tastings, we have realized that, especially the students, they are sitting with each other. It's time to, time to smell something and say what all aromas can you get. They somehow become very competitive, and they start, cheating from each other and discussing with each other. So, well, that is not needed, because whatever your perception is very valuable to us. And that is it. We are not looking we are not sitting in a sanitized room and doing the tasting as to, somebody put that ingredient and it is not coming. That's a different kind of tasting. But when we go to normal consumers, perception, their actual honest perception is the most important input for us. So it's time now to move on to the next sense. And the next sense is our nose. So open the jar, you off the black salt and the pink salt as well, and the white salt as well, and one by one sniff all the three of them. You can start with the milder one, the white salt, okay? Then the pink salt I'm smelling. I'm not getting anything special. And finally, I'm on to the black salt. The color of the black salt can differ depending on the quantity of sulfur. There is no, it is not being made in India in a very organized manner. It is an unorganized sector, so each salt will have different specs. You do smell something. Mine is, well, can I smell sulfur? Can you smell sulfur is what I'm asking. if you can, then on a scale of 1 to 7, we at TagTaste use 1 to 7. We don't use the 5-point scale, we don't use the 10-point scale, because the tastings are done on the mobile, and 7-point scale is very easy to follow. 5-point is it doesn't tell you anything, So no differentiation can be achieved there, so we don't use that. So on a scale of 1 to 7, give it a intensity rating. You can give it 2, 3, 4, 1, whatever you are feeling. Now is the time to take a pinch of salt, okay, and put it on your tongue. The moment you put it on your tongue, you have to again give it an intensity on a scale of 1 to 7. So let's do it. Let it mix with saliva. That is the way our taste buds capture the taste, by mixing with saliva. Okay? Have you given an intensity? For me, and I was only smelling through the nose before eating it, the intensity on a 7-point scale was 2. And now the intensity of the smell of sulfur on a 7-point scale with the salt inside my mouth, I'm eating it, mixing with saliva, eating it. It is 5. You must have done this exercise already, finished, right? Made your assessment. Did you realize what did I tell you? It's quite a paradox. I'm saying, did you smell from inside your mouth? The nose is outside my mouth. Nose is not inside my mouth. The nose is outside. But my question to you has been, can you smell what is the intensity of the smell of sulfur from inside the mouth? Well, yes, you can smell from inside the mouth. And this can happen because the nose, which is outside our faces, is not the real capturing organ of the smell. This is not the picture. The real capturing organ of the smell is, I will tell you where. You have it on your screen, you will not connect with it. It's very textbook-like. So you, please, I can't see you, your cameras are off, nobody can see you, and watch me how I'm going to connect with my own anatomy. It's time for you to connect with yours. And yes, I'm smelling through here, but the receptor organ is not here. It is not along the passage of the nose. It is actually where the nose ends, between the eyes, deep inside my forehead, are some fine hair-like structures, which on the screen you will see colored yellow. Well, for science students, you can call it hi-fi name, olfactory epithelium. Others don't need to remember it. It is simple where our sense of smell gets captured. And this point is accessible from outside the mouth and from inside the mouth. From inside the mouth, it's an open cavity, right? That once you go to the back here, it's a T point. Down here is not an open cavity. Down here, we've got 2 tubes, the food pipe and the windpipe. But up here is an open cavity. The volatiles which release from any food, especially the hot food, they have a tendency to travel up and get collected here. This is how you capture the smell. On the screen, we have the word aroma. Now I'll give names to this, because what are we doing today? The language to describe food. If I call, in our normal life, what do we say? Aroma and flavor and taste. Whatever happens inside our mouth, we tend to describe it in these 3 words. But when we are doing a sensory session and learning, see, actually, there is a scope of each of the words. Aroma has got a beginning and an end. Flavor has got a beginning and an end. Taste has got a beginning and an end. Whatever happens inside my mouth, I cannot label it like that. Because if I start labeling it like that, I will rush through whatever I'm eating. I will not connect with the food inside the mouth. I need to connect. And that is the way Ayurveda also says, our family members also say, when you are eating, please be focused. You can't be focused because it's not interesting enough. You don't know what's happening. So you need to know the difference between what is happening. How does it help? This is called mindful eating. A kid sits with a packet of chips. Mostly they finish the whole packet of chips. We may be playing video games and they finish it. Now imagine what all has gone into the kid's body. If you see behind the packet, whatever is written there, the amount of sodium and whatever is written there, is always, in case they are giving the percentage DV or giving in imported stuff, whatever you are buying, you will find percentage DV. On the Indian stuff, now you must have started getting the recent packets with percentage RDA. All those ratings, they are for an adult. They are not for the child. Your child should not be eating a whole packet of chips, probably eating 10 chips at one go. But you cannot take a danda and tell him that dasi khane hai, dasi khane hai, dasi khane hai. You have to make even those 10 chips enjoyable for the kid. Because this whole activity, ki pura packet nahi khana, 10 khane hai, along with lot of scolding and all that, is a very negative activity. But if you can make it positive, if you teach, if you yourself follow and you teach mindful eating to the child, to take in one thing at a time and connect with the food. That's why these words, these concepts are important. So here is the first myth I am going to break, that aroma is, in scientific terms, limited to the sense of smell, which is, now is the limitation, which is before eating, outside the mouth. That is aroma. If you are putting the salt inside the mouth and telling me the intensity of the smell, that has got another name. This has got another name. And this is one skill. This comparison of the intensities is very important, because you be the judge for you to connect with the food always in a good product, whether it is processed or it is natural. Always, if you are judging the intensity, aroma, smells of one particular ingredient, the smell of the food inside the mouth should have a higher intensity as compared to the smell of the food outside the mouth. So, smell of the food outside the mouth only through the nose is aroma, and there is a name for smell of the food inside the mouth, and the name is aromatics. But we will first discuss what we see on the screen right now. Blue arrows is aroma. Through the nose, it's a passage. It is getting captured at the yellow one. And the red arrows are aromatics. They go to the back of the throat, the volatiles, and then they rise up and get collected here. And together they form the complete sense of smell when you're eating, because the plate of the food is in front of you. You are getting the aromas and the aromatics also. So, next slide, please. Oh no, there's no, okay. Aromatics ki, I want to introduce the word aromatics. Niche hoga, taste se niche. No, it's okay. It's okay. The spelling is very simple. A-R-O, aroma, M-A-T-I-C-S. In our English language, we use it as a verb. Out here, it is a concept. So, there is this differentiation which I told you about. So, I have now covered two senses. I have covered the appearance and I have covered the sense of smell also. And now it is time to move to the sense of taste. But before that, I will tell you one thing. What you see on the screen, the red arrows, if you see that very conveniently, automatically, these arrows or whatever, volatiles are getting collected in your mouth are going to move up. It is not going to happen automatically. All of it will not go up. Some of it, because this is a tea point, as I told you before, so the volatiles do tend to go down. As a professional taster today, you have to try and pull the aromatics, which have traveled down into your food pipe and the windpipe, back up into the mouth. Once they are back into the mouth, they will rise up and get collected here, captured here. This is important. What do we do to do that? Okay, very easy, huh? Now, we've seen this around us all the time. We have seen people, they fill their lungs with, smokers fill their lungs with smoke. Do they keep it there? No. They always throw it out. And what are the two routes they follow to throw it out? Either they blow out through the mouth or they blow out through the nose. Right? You can do it too. But the catch is, the science says that you cannot do it through the mouth, because the moment you open your mouth, you will lose the aromatics. You have to keep your mouth closed. So only one option is left. The option is that of exhaling through the nose, but while keeping the mouth closed and also chewing at the same time. This is difficult to do. I can't do it. So we suggest another technique. If everything is kept in front of you, you can start eating it and try to keep your mouth closed. And instead of exhaling while chewing, please do this. Pinch both your nostrils for a few seconds while then release it. The moment you release your nose, the sense of smell becomes so active. Whatever you were getting, probably, what happens at times that somebody tells us these are ginger cookies. We take the aroma, we don't get ginger. Then we put it in our mouth and we still don't get ginger, but then we start chewing it. The surface area of the food increases. As the surface area of the food increases, more and more volatiles of ginger start releasing, and you are able to capture the aromatics. But if you want to know whether it is a fresh ginger they used while baking or it was a ginger powder, dry ginger powder, sont, what we call in Hindi, then it may not be all that easy. But you can still do it. Huh? We are not a lab. I'm not asking you to take it to a lab and get it. No, you are. Your body will tell you. Treat it like a lab. So there is a technique, small experiment you have to do always. That is, pinch your nose while you are chewing. More and more volatiles are getting released, but not getting lost anywhere. Whatever is going down, and when you release it, everything gets pulled up. It comes up into the mouth in here, and it gets collected. That is the point when you can make out the difference, whether it was the dry ginger powder or the fresh ginger that was used. So each step gives you more clarity, is what I'm trying to tell you. First of all, why did I take an example of a cookie? Cookie is at the room temperature. Room temperature right now for most of us, if we are sitting in the ACs, is going to be 24 max. It goes into our mouth. What is the temperature of mouth? It is 37 degrees centigrade. Look, there is a differential in the temperature. At 37 degrees centigrade, in the mouth, the first condition is higher temperature. The second condition is that you are increasing the surface area of the food. Because of these two reasons, more and more volatiles are getting released, and you are going to get higher intensity. So now you get it why aroma ideally should be higher in intensity than the aroma? This is one single pointer which, why aromatics needs to be of a higher intensity than aroma. It's one single pointer which speaks volumes about the product. And you will see, if today they're doing juices. No, chips. Chips. You're doing chips. Good. Today you probably have got Uncle Chips and Lays. Okay. So I think even Uncle Chips is going to be like that only. Aromatics should be more than aroma. But if you take a local chips, try it out sometime. You will be able to see the difference. Okay. So we have now told you, covered the sense of smell. We have told you what to do as a professional taster that picture knows, and also told you about the temperature and the chewing, which causes the aromatics to intensify. It is time to move to the most important word, it's a common word, most common word, and that is the word taste. Okay, so I will just take time to close my jars. Please take out your garam masala and the magic masala now. Okay. So what you see on the screens is the tongue. You also see the first image is that there are zones on the tongue, but we have put a big cross mark on it. Because this is what is the new research telling us, that yes, we have taste buds in different areas of the tongue, all over the tongue, and they do not look the same, they don't have the same sizes. But irrespective of their shape and sizes and location, they all have capacity to captured by. Since this is possible, they are called the basic tastes: the sweet, salty, sour, bitter, and umami. Umami is everywhere in our lives in India, but in a little different manner as compared to the umami, the Japanese experience. And we are going to teach you umami the Indian way. So, first of all, please remember, there are kids sitting with us today. Yes, your textbooks must be telling you that there are zones on the tongue. If there is an examination, you are supposed to write that yes, there are zones on the tongue, but please don't believe in it, because the world has moved forward. The curriculum is yet to be updated. We teach this to the students of food technology, to the students of nutrition, everywhere, even in our college, university curriculum, they haven't changed it yet. Why? Because the research in the field of taste is very, very recent phenomena. It is only 29 years ago that they found the first receptor on the tongue, the protein receptor, peptide on the tongue. And thereafter, they have been saying, oh, well, we found the genes or the enzymes that capture the sweet taste and the salty, sour, bitter, umami, carbonation. So the last one they captured was in 2010, and the research is still on. So if they find other tastes which are getting captured on the tongue, they will label it as a basic taste. Okay? Imagine yourself making your favorite Indian sabzi with only these 5 tastes. You cannot put your haldi, you cannot put your jeera, you cannot put your dhania, you cannot put your mirchi, you cannot put your moti ilaichi, you cannot put your cinnamon. You can't put these things. All you can put is oil, anything to make it sour, maybe amchur, kokum, or tomato. And well, if you believe in putting a pinch of an enhancer, MSG, umami, you can do that. How will you eat your food? I can't eat. I'm a North Indian. My gobi aloo prepared like that, I cannot eat it. My tastes are missing here. This is the Western education. This is not reflecting our taste. All the people who are developing food in India right now are studying this. All the emphasis is going on these tastes. And what is the outcome? The outcome is that whenever they are faced with a situation where they have to improve the taste, they are all the time relying upon these five tastes. They know only these tastes. इसी को वो tweak कर देते हैं. You want to make it tastier? The biscuit is not selling in the market. The kids are not liking it. No problem. R&D says we put more sugar. That is what is happening. So anything salty, savory is not selling in the market. No problem. We'll put more sodium in it. It will sell. No, people like it. Similarly, sour. They are not using amchur powder to make it sour. They are using acids to make it sour. They harm us. So that's why we at TagTaste believe that the first thing where we have to start is that realization, what are our tastes? Because there is more to food than only the basic taste. And what is that other dimension to food? We are all aware of it. Huh? We can't eat a food without it. Our mirch and masale, mirchi masale. All our traditions have these two words. We do not club it as spiciness. Spiciness, agar aap khana bana ke laoge, you say it's spicy. What will the other person do who has made it? Make it less spicy. But how to make it less spicy? To reduce the masalas or to reduce the mirchi? There is a distinction. We are evolved as far as tastes is concerned. Much more evolved than the Western world. And we are going to learn the Indian taste now. We call it the taste because Ayurveda calls it the taste. Western world does not call. Astringency and pungency are the two dimensions of taste. Yes, always we call it a taste, but they don't call it a taste. Can we have another slide, please? They call it the irritants, but we will come to it later. First, let us do umami. Okay, so on the screen, now I want the other picture with the tongues. Yeah, okay. It's time to open the garam masalas. The normal garam masala, I have it here in this vial. I will take a pinch of it, and then before you take a pinch of it, it is very important to understand the pointers. Look, all of us know umami we feel. We want to eat our food again and again. We want to eat these chips again and again. Oh, well, it has umami. That is a very crude way of describing it. There are so many experiences which are happening in your mouth at that time. And that is umami. Enjoy those experiences. Slowly get connected to them. But before that, we have to understand what is the nature of this taste. We take a cup of tea and add 1 spoon of sugar in it, and we expect sweetness to be X. We add 2 spoons of sugar to it, 1 plus 2, 3, and we expect the sweetness to be 3X. But with umami, if we add 1 pinch of salt, you see it's an enhancer. We add 1 pinch of MSG to something, we expect umami to be X. And if we add 4 pinches of MSG and we expect umami to be 4X, no. Everything goes off balance. It doesn't happen like that. So we are not able to sense umami the way we sense sweet, salty, sour, bitter. Umami is different. How does it function in our mouth? When do we know that we are tasting umami? 3 pointers. They are on your screen, the mouths are open. Those are the 3 pictures. The first is continuous secretion of saliva. Usually the saliva comes in one burst and stops, but out here it continues. Then one word for umami is delicious. Now this deliciousness, what happens is you feel it everywhere. I'm going to tell you to put the magic masala. Where will you put these masalas? On your tongue, right? So the deliciousness should be on the tongue. But no, the deliciousness is not only on the tongue, on the sides of the cheeks, under the tongue, top of the roof, back of the throat, everywhere in your mouth. Not a single area is left. But as far as the tongue is concerned, that has extra added effect. And what is that? If the umami is really powerful, you will feel a kind of furriness or coating on the tongue. But deliciousness will be everywhere. That was the second pointer. The third pointer is the long aftertaste. So now is the time to start with the first garam masala sample and look on the screen. Are you getting the 3 pointers or not? Please. Most of us will be getting mirchi, we'll be getting dhania, we'll be getting jeera and garam masalas. But we will not be getting the pointers. If you're getting the pointers, it is possible, but the intensity will be low. Now, please take a sip of water, cleanse your palate, that's most important. And then we move on to the magic masala. Okay, time for magic masala. Well, I have it in the same vial, so I take it here, and I take it here. Now, are you getting the 3 pointers? If you're getting the 3 pointers, this is umami. And this was the first introduction to us Indians about the umami taste. Now, if we go by the definition of umami, it is supposed to be a subtle taste, a savory, subtle taste which we get from all the meats, which we can get from the tomatoes, provided we process them properly inside our mouth. We can get them from the mushrooms, from onion, garlic, peas. There are many things which naturally are able to enhance umami, but the one which we are on a regular basis, because of the processed food we eat, we are being exposed to is this umami. MSG is banned in India. There is no MSG in this product, but all the brothers sisters are allowed. And at the back, you will see the word enhancer. Enhancer, whatever number is given by the FSSAI, and for particular compositions, they have particular numbers. So there will be an enhancer number there, so and so, acid number so and so, this so and so, like that. So word enhancer means that some form of glutamate has been added. So this is very important to connect with, because most of the things which we are eating today available on the shelves, makhanas being the most popular right now, it is supposed to be healthy, fox nuts. People want to eat healthy, they go and buy it. And unfortunately, most of the entrepreneurs, what do? They have food technologists on the panels which are preparing these products. Most of them do not have the chefs. The culinary knowledge is with the chefs. Culinary knowledge is not with the food technologist. The food technologist is learning more about elongating the shelf life, but less about balancing the taste. He may be reading about taste. He knows MSG can be added. He's adding it. But unfortunately, he is probably adding 4 pinches of it or 3 pinches of it and not happy about a single pinch there. If the culinary expert comes in, he will be happy with a single pinch. This is what is happening. We are getting exposed to. So when we go and pick up that packet of makhanas, इतना उसमें enhancer होता है that yes, at that particular time you keep on popping more and more into your mouth. But after a while, you realize it was all so bad, so much of salt, so much of sugar, so much of acid, so much of masala, so much of mirchi, that you do not want to go back again and buy it the second time. Abuse of our basic tastes is happening at all the time. And it is not only the entrepreneurs, it is even the MNCs who are abusing. I'm sorry to say it, but it is like that. If you eat a single Kit Kat, look at the wrapper behind it, 1/3 of the Kit Kat is only sugar, added sugar. Why are we doing this to ourselves? We are the ones, we have to stop buying it. Only then the companies will stop making it. So why say yes to this abuse all the time of our taste buds? It is risky. The health comes later. It is the perception. The problem is with the perception. Don't start early with, your kids should not be eating the whole chocolate, because the whole chocolate means tons of sugar has gone into it. Not needed. Stick to mindful eating, adapt mindful eating, everything. We are in a world where we cannot say no to processed food. It will always be a part of our lives, but a better quality is necessary and better control is necessary. Why that word control is negative? It takes the fun out. It's not the way. The way is mindful eating. It automatically restricts the quantity and brings the fun in. So, we have done the 5 basic tastes, but I'm going to talk about bitterness now. So, how do we measure bitterness? Actually, we do the sessions where we prepare 4 different intensities of sugar, salt, and sour. And each one of you would have ideally, had it not been the COVID times, we would have been there in Mumbai and we would have laid out the tables, and all of you would have tasted those 4 solutions of sugar to see what is your threshold of sugar, whether it is 10% or 0.01%. So those people who are able to detect the minutest quantities of sugar or salt or bitter or sour in any food, well, we are able to gauge it that they might be super tasters. So there are 2 steps after that we need to confirm whether they are super tasters or not. We do the super taster hunt, and we do it with this. The step 1 is the strip here. This is the PTC strip, the polythiourea strip. We keep it on the tongue and let it mix with the saliva. And after that, well, it's like any other blotting paper, nothing happened to be. I doubt if there is any chemical coated in it. But you know what? For super tasters, what happens? For some of them, it is so bitter that they fling their hands up in the air and say, they complain, what did you make us eat? The palate is ruined for one day, at least for me now. I can't eat. Those who are super tasters, they find gobi kadwa, they find palak, spinach to be bitter, and they are low on eating the vegetables, and that impacts the nutrition. So if somebody is in the house who is not eating Karela, you must have empathy for that person, because they really have the sensitive palates and they are not able to eat it. But you must find a way to compensate the nutrition what they are not able to take through the bitter vegetables. So we have done the taste section, and now we go to the flavor, the word flavor. Sorry, we have to do the Indian tastes I was telling you about. Okay, so let us go back to Ayurveda. We were mentioning Ayurveda. Oh my God, Ayurveda and food. What is the connect? What is this? Ayurveda is about medicines. No, no. Ayurveda has got another dimension to keep the healthy body healthy, and that is where they study the taste and the food in detail, and they have given us 6 tastes. For them, astringency and pungency are not textures. They are not irritants. They are, in fact, the tastes. But the point is, if they are not getting captured on our tongue, then where are they getting captured? So it's time to get connected with your anatomy again. And I'm going to tell you about certain nerves. These are called the trigeminal nerves. We'll be showing them on the screen. And you can see it behind the neck. it emerges from here 3/4. Try 3/4. The first one goes to the bottom of the face, the second one to the middle of the face, and the third one to the top of the face. It is covering the face from inside and outside. You have to remember that. Okay? So, now when we'll take the first taste, pungency. Well, what do all of us know about the word pungent in food? We Indians have got one notion. Our perception is limited about pungency, although we are the ones who eat maximum pungent food probably in the world, but we still are associating pungency with only one product, and that is mustard oil, which I told you to get. So, well, mustard is pungent, okay? Pungency is about, you will feel pungency from inside the mouth and you will feel pungency from outside also. So there are pungent tastes and there are pungent aromas. This one has got a pungent aroma. Why do I say pungent? If you smell vanilla, what will the action of your nose? Oh, it will relax. But if you smell mustard oil, it is not going to relax. It is going to cringe, right? If you are passing through dumps of sewage or something on the road, some work is happening, repair work is happening, and even through the rolled up windows of your car, you're able to smell it, and you, oh my God. So the moment you cringe your nose, that is pungency. Okay, so there is what is happening? Action. Where is it happening? On the trigeminal nerves. I told you they're outside and inside the face. So outside here on the nose, there are trigeminal nerves which are getting hit, impacted, and the westerners call it irritation. Yes, well, it is a dirty smell, it is irritation, but when it is a smell which conveys something to me, although I am getting irritated, I am still liking it. And this is what happens with mustard oil. So, you may dislike the smell of mustard oil, but those who eat it on a regular basis, they like to smell mustard oil before buying it. In our households, our parents and grandparents were doing it before the branding happened. Even today, most of us are into what? Cold pressed oils. Why are we into cold pressed oils? Because there is purity. So, in case you are into cold pressed mustard oil, you will open the bottle and you won't be able to take the hit of it. But you will still be glad, oh, the quality is good. I really got hit with it. You know? So this is pungency. Another example of pungency from your life. Well, you are in Mumbai, and Mumbai has given us one fantastic beverage, carbonated beverage to Indians. Okay, and that beverage is thumbs up. So there is one Kelkar College in Bombay, and Kelkar College is where the food department is there, and they have made the seasoning or whatever the concentrate is called. It is called the concentrate. Yeah, they have made the concentrate for this drink. Compare it with Pepsi. Compare it with Coke. I am talking about the hit of carbonation. And what happens? Pepsi is the mildest of all. Coke is medium intensity. And thumbs up for me, thumbs up just shoots up and I get hits here. And I'm uncomfortable. But still, there are times when I want to feel the kick and I like to drink it. What is the passage at that time? Don't you feel it is traveling through your nose? Or have you tried eating wasabi, only wasabi, without the sushi? Try it next time. Oh my God, it will just go up. So there is a nasal passage also. For things which are highly pungent, that is there, right? You will enjoy. Alcohol is another thing, I was teaching you pungent smells. Well, as a professional taster, if you ever go for smelling of alcohol, tasting of alcohol, professional tasting of alcohol, you have to be very careful because the fumes from the whiskeys, the neat whiskeys, they can actually burn your nose from inside. The tasters, the blenders are very, very careful with it. Okay, so this is the pungency in aroma. And what is the pungency now about eating? We come to that. Okay, all of us love chilies, especially the Maharashtrians. They are used to loads of chilies in the food. Very spicy, very chili-based food. Okay, most of you would have heard about Naga chilies, the Bhoot Jolakia from Assam. If you eat the special high potency chilies, then you keep it on your tongue. And what happens? You feel the burning to be on the tongue, around the tongue, inside the mouth, everywhere. And even you feel that, in Hindi we say, कानों से धुआं और आंखों से पानी. It is impacting. I did not touch the chili to my ears. The burning is so intense that the smoke is there, I feel, and it is getting released from my ears. And my eyes are watering. For some people, they start sweating also. It is the trigeminal nerves which are getting impacted. So the pungency is getting captured there. Now there are other kinds of pungency also, which we mention in a form. Today you will see in the questionnaire pungency hot, pungency cold, pungency chili. Mirchi masale, we have divided them. So pungency, mirchi masale is getting divided into pungency hot and pungency chili. What is pungency hot? Coming from a garam masalas. Well, most of us have gone through it, right? Even today, if we do not have time to go to the dentist and the tooth is aching, the first thing we do is we take a clove long and we keep it where the tooth is aching. What does clove do? It is a masala which has got volatile oils, and what clove does is this. It numbs. It is a numbing kind of pungency. It numbs. The trigeminal nerves get numbed and you do not feel the pain. Also, another thing happens when you put a clove inside your mouth, it spreads warmth. You did not heat the clove. The clove was at room temperature. You may even take it from the fridge and keep it on your tongue, and still it will spread a warmth because the chemicals which are inside the clove, they are acting on your trigeminal nerves and they are generating heat. Pungency hot. It also comes from the fresh ginger. It also comes from the fresh garlic. And then is another kind of pungency. We told you about the chilies, mirchi masale alag karke. So you are going to assess it that way. And the third kind of pungency, which we mentioned in our form, is pungency cold. What is pungency cold? Menthol. When you eat it, it spreads cool. It is at the room temperature. You may heat it and put it in your mouth, it will still spread coolness in your mouth. Again, the chemical in the menthol is acting on your trigeminal nerves and spreading that coolness. Temperature comes down. Trigeminal nerves are the organs that capture the pungency taste. Right? Now, some of us, we like to wash our hair with menthol shampoos. And what happens? Our scalp also starts getting cold. It spreads there. So that's why I said the trigeminal nerves are inside and outside the mouth, and they capture these inside as well as outside. Okay, I have explained the pungency taste to you. One Indian taste I have explained. What is the other Indian taste is astringency. Most of you will be enjoying the red wines. And you would have heard the two words, astringency and tannins, for the first time in your lives with regard to the red wines that you are drinking, or the coffee and the tea. But you probably have never associated that with the Indian food. Well, I'm here to tell you that I told you that Ayurveda says that there are 6 Indian tastes. And what Ayurveda says, can I have it? Ayurveda says another thing. It says that every meal of yours should have all the 6 tastes. It is very important. Well, as per tradition, we should be having 2 heavy meals. not many small meals. And those two heavy meals are the ones they are talking about. Two normal meals. All the six tastes important. Why important? Because what are tastes? Tastes are nothing else but the proof that certain chemicals are present in your food. And this is very important because Ayurveda says that there are certain chemicals which your body cannot manufacture on its own. You have to keep eating so that you are able to put those chemicals in your body. Those chemicals are needed for normal functioning of the metabolism. All of us are into proteins, right? So much awareness about proteins. We know essential proteins. Why the word essential? Because they are not manufactured by the body. Those amino acids are not generated inside the body. We have to eat them. So per se, with regard to protein, we are aware of it because it is the Western education which is telling us, but actually our own education tells us that these are the chemicals. Sweet taste on the tongue, well, carbohydrates, sugars, fats, amino acids are there inside your food. Sour, organic acids are there in your food. Salty, the salts which are essential, we sweat a lot in India, are there in your food. Volatile oils, pungency, you're feeling the impact hit, they are there. Bitter is very important. We have to teach our kids to eat bitter things. We are not doing that. And where is the reflection coming in? I have not gone into the households to ask the people. We do not like it. Why? For the last 4 years, we are doing the tasting. And we see the rating of performance of the product. And whenever we see a performance is not up to the mark, we go for, the first thing we look for in the data is bitter. थोड़ी सी भी bitterness आ जाती है ना, it just drops. It's very unfortunate because as a nation, because maybe we have a tendency, genetic tendency for this diabetes, and our ancestors were taking care of it by making us eat bitter things and balancing the food. If we are not eating bitter things, we are not putting those chemicals inside the body, and they leave a void. Whenever there is a void in the food, you feel hungry again, you will go back to snacking and you will not be able to reduce. So even those who are following a diet, please ensure that whatever you are eating should have the three tastes. And there the tannins are under astringency. That means all throughout India, top to bottom, left to right, we have been eating tannins. And little bit of research revealed what is it that the poorest man on the street is able to eat. How can he get all the six tastes? Tannins included the dals. All our dals, legumes have tannins, although in a smaller quantity, and we are not able to feel the hit because we put a lot of things in the tadka. But nevertheless, the point I'm trying to make is that it is a part of our meal. Let us not treat it like a very hi-fi taste. Let us get connected to it today and understand how exactly what is happening inside our mouth when we are eating things with tannins. So, can we have the slide on astringency, please? I don't know, probably whether in the docket we requested you to arrange sour, raw mango or not. If we did that, it's time to cut it. If not, we would have told you to arrange the roasted chanas. So it's time to take them out. Eat them after you have understood the pointers. The pointers are very simple. Pointer number one is puckering of lips. When you are taking selfie, the lips automatically become pout-like. It happens because the tannins are acting on the trigeminal nerve. So these reactions are happening inside your mouth. You are not making them pout. They are happening. Then the contraction of the cheeks is happening and the difficulty in moving the tongue is happening. People call it dryness. All over the net, you will find literature calling it dryness or bitterness. Westerners are not able to explain this taste well. They, confuse us in so many ways. So there is no confusion in it. We can relate to it very well because we eat jamuns, no? It's season for the jamuns. Eat 10 to 15 jamuns in one go and automatically you will get it. All these three things you can feel in high intensity. The trigeminal nerves, which are lining your cheeks, are contracting because the tannins from the jamuns are acting on them, contracting. As a result of that contraction, constriction, your lips are getting pushed out, point number two. And third is, well, this is a little different. When we read about the basic tastes, we said we can capture the taste when the food mixes with saliva. Out here, tannin is not mixing with saliva. Tannin is breaking the saliva. It is the saliva which moistens our mouth. I am talking to you. I've been talking for so long. Still, it is not all that dry because my saliva is moistening my mouth. But if I eat any of the things listed on the screen, what will happen in spite of, red wine is a liquid. Still, I am saying my mouth will go dry. It will go dry because the saliva has broken down and certain amino acids are precipitated. So if you feel this, that is astringency. And all of us will remember a time when accidentally we had a raw banana. We wanted to eat a ripe banana, but we had a raw banana. And you just don't know for a second what's happening inside your mouth. And actually you realize you've eaten a raw banana. So all raw fruits, raw mango, raw guava, everything will have it. And if you want to experience it right now, please chew the chanas and you will get this taste. So with this, we have finished the taste section. The next one is flavor word. Aromatics to flavor. We have covered, kokumi, I think I can say. We have covered the word.
They mentioned kokumi.
Okay. So here I have been requested to tell you about a sixth basic taste candidate. It is called kokumi. Again, it is a Japanese taste, and the Japanese lobbied for umami. They got it enlisted as basic taste. They are lobbying for kokumi also. May or may not happen, but anyways, the point is that it impacts your life. How come? Because commercially, they are using kokumi powders to give this kokumi taste. It is like umami, it is an enhancer, it is an amplifier. Well, it does amplify the sugar and the salt and the sweet, sour and the bitter. But what it doesn't do is, like in addition to these, what it is doing majorly is the thickness part of it. So when you are enjoying a broth, the broth is so thin to look at. But the moment you put a spoonful of broth in your mouth, you start feeling there's a thickness to it. There is a richness to it. There is a complexity to the flavor. Something so thin as a soup, as a broth, it does have a depth in it. And that is what is kokumi, right? The richness and flavor, the mouthfulness, small quantity of food inside your mouth, but you feel that everything is happening. Umami doesn't have the tangent of aroma in it. The smell is not enhanced by umami, but kokumi is enhancing the smell as well to some extent. So it is a very new thing which is happening. And how has it, and those of you who are already, like most of us, we were earlier buying, when my daughter was young, we were having it, we don't like it now, we have stopped it with the Skippy peanut butter. But the peanut butters are so fatty. The natural fat, which is there from the peanuts, is not the problem. But the fat which is added to it to make it so smooth and creamy is the trans fat. Now people are objecting to it overseas and they are coming out with low-fat peanut butter. Maybe it is already available in the gourmet shops on the Indian shelves. And in those low-fat peanut butter, we are adding the kokumi powder instead of the trans fat, so that you get all the enjoyment which you were getting from the fat. So, the taste impact of kokumi and the fat is alike, but the calorie content is low when it is the kokomi. So that's sufficient. Okay, so we will now move on to
infographic relating to kokomi.
we can send the whole presentation, no?
Kokomi separate.
It's in part of it. So, yes, where is it found? Huh? It is found in fermented food, alcohol, whatever things is made with fermentation, the shrimp paste, the fish sauces, the onion and the garlic, and look at right on top, the slow cooked food. And how do I relate to it? As far as the Indian food is concerned, being a North Indian, the dal makhani. Oh wow, if it is slow cooked, because you know what? Another research paper has revealed that even our dals, legumes, yes, we know they have tannins, but they say they have got the substances for kokomi too, provided you are able to get those substances to make and play in the food. If you're going to pressure cook the dal and cook it very quickly, you may not get kokomi, because what will happen is the water will be separate and the legume will be separate. You have to cook it slowly, and that's when you will get the dals, a dal makhani, which doesn't need addition of makhan. It doesn't need any butter or dahi or cream. It will be makhani on its own, provided it is cooked slowly. Traditional way was this way. If we had to eat it in dinner, our great grandmothers used to keep it on angithi. After finishing their lunch, they would keep it and it would simmer and be ready for the dinner. That taste was very different, and people are realizing it now, that what a wonderful thing it is to have slow cooked food, because it is easy to digest and it's better tasting and it is low in fat as well. So now here we come to the word flavor again. Okay, another word, flavor. Okay, very common word, all of us use it. Now, some of us, what we do is, we get a plate full of food in front of us, we just smell it and we look at it and we declare it has wonderful flavor. That is wrong. Flavor has to happen inside the mouth only. Or, yes, I do agree if some of you say that taste and aromatics is a very constricted, narrow view of flavor. It involves appearance. Yes, definitely it can involve appearance. But what cannot happen is, without eating it, you cannot declare it to have good flavor. It has to be inside the mouth. Simple equation, taste plus aromatics. Taste all the angles of taste. Ayurvedic taste, including umami, 7 tastes, everything I told you about taste, all are there. And aromatics, I've already told you, the smell of the food or beverage inside the mouth. So, this is flavor. And now a simple experiment to prove that. What does it say? Smell, look at the equation. Smell and taste work together to form flavor. So, we will take this experiment now. Some of you can try it. It is from the book Gastrophysics, and which has been written by Charles Spence. Gastrophysics, the new science of eating. So, if you have 2 friends, they are sitting, one is blindfolded. Before you blindfold your friend, separately, without the knowledge of the friend, you have to prepare 2 airtight tiffins, one with sliced onion, another with sliced apple. You go to the friend who's already blindfolded, tell him to pinch the nose, then you open your box. It may be onion, you put it in his mouth, and with the nose pinched and eyes folded, he's going to chew it and swallow it. And then you tell him to drink water, and after he has had washed water, rinsed his mouth, then he is able to remove his pinch, releases the nose, and you ask him, what did you eat? It was sweet and it was crispy. Okay, I can't give it a name, it was sweet and it was crispy. Okay, fine. Then you again tell him that pinch your nose again, you open the second tiffin, which is apple, and you put it in his mouth, and he chews it with the nose pinched, chews it, swallows it, drinks water after that, and then you tell him to remove release the nose and ask him, what did you eat? It was that only, what you gave me first time, sweet and crispy. See, The sense of smell is completely getting disconnected here. Aroma and aromatics, outside and inside, once you pinch the nose, both of them get blocked. They are not able to tell the difference between apple and onion because texture wise and taste wise, they are the same. It is the smell which distinguishes it. So they have to work together to form flavor. That is important. Now, oral texture. I will just go back to the importance of that equation. When we are with the students in the food community, we always tell them that this is how you can make the food more enjoyable. Do not look only at the basic taste. Do not abuse the basic taste every time. Don't increase the sugar, don't increase the salt, don't increase the chili, don't increase the umami, but add such spices and other herbs which are smelling nice. That is most important, aromatics. What will the biryani be if it is not giving you the aroma and the aromatics? So similarly, we can look at other food also and make it more enjoyable. Oral texture, it's time to eat the chips now. Don't eat them, just make them. Ready. I've got the chips and the rusk and the crackers, and I'm also getting the sugar. I'm keeping all this ready. Please be ready with all this stuff. So, the most enjoyable thing about texture is sounds, right? What are people doing? Burger King is adding chips inside the burgers. Why? To give the crispy texture. But the same chip which is inside the burger, yes, it is giving us the crispy texture to a little extent. But when we eat only the chips, what does it give us? Crispy sound, right? So today I'm going to tell you the sound. Again, language of food, important to distinguish between the crispy, crunchy and the crackly sound. And here are the examples. Listen to the pointers, they're very simple. After you listen to the pointer, you can break it in your hand, you can eat it to validate it. Here is the chip. Pointer number 1 is it will break in a single sound which is high pitched. So, time to try single sound which is high pitched. Here is the microphone. Did you get it? Please eat it. Time for the second sound. Crunchy. We requested you to arrange the rusks. Okay? The 2 pointers. There is no single sound in it. Multiple sounds. In fact, it's a series of sounds which are not high pitched but low pitched. Crushing noise. Like a bulldozer is breaking a wall. Crushing noise. Time to eat it. Please. All of you have got your cameras are off, so I can't watch you, huh? Others can't watch you. You can say, yeah, we are being very civil about it. Actually, the field of tasting is not about the manners. It is about enjoying food. And one thing where today we haven't got you a liquid product. Otherwise, Arun will come here, huh? He does it really well. Come, get him. There's no time. I'll put some water in it. Huh?
Okay, so if you remember the movie Sholay, so what is the right way?
Actually slap it. Yes, you have to.
So, what is the right way of drinking any beverage? So, if you remember the way Amitabh Bachchan was drinking tea in Sholay, so it was like this. So, that is actually the right way of having any beverage. And what is the reason? Once you do it, it forces the liquid to be hit onto your tongue, and that's how it releases the aromas which are inside it. Because it's getting within your mouth, it's actually aromatics, and that is where you really feel the hit. You really are able to enjoy the fragrance, the aromatics of that particular beverage. So, irrespective of whichever beverage you are eating, if you slurp it while having it, that's the best way of enjoying your liquid.
So, so that is it.
That's how they do it in villages.
And that's, yeah, I see. अभी हरियाणा का ताऊ, हाँ, पीपल के पेड़ के नीचे चबूतरे पे बैठ के चाय ऐसे ही पीता है. He pours it in the saucer and he slurps from the saucer because he really knows how to enjoy his tea. Huh? We keep on having four cups a day and still we don't enjoy it. So it's better to enjoy it once only and not dump so much of caffeine in our body and sugars in our body. So mindful eating, mindful drinking. Even with alcohol, I don't know, I haven't heard of anybody asking to slurp because that is so strong it can burn your mouth inside. So when we say beverages, well, you can limit it to certain coffees and teas and all, but don't try it with neat alcohol. Oh my God, it's going to be disastrous. It does. No, Dr. Mehtan told us, he says, you can't make people sniff it so many times, it will burn in the nose. So, we took a little detour there. We went back into the aromatics, but we are back into the texture now. We were doing the sounds. The crispy sound is a single sound which is high pitched, and crunchy sound from the rusk is a series of crushing noises which are low pitched. And the third one here is I requested you to get the crackers. The sound which comes after breaking the crackers is a crackly sound. It is a single sound which is low pitched. The snap down. Try it. So dirty. There is another sound associated with food. That is a sizzling sound. But sizzling sound needs a hot surface. Well, some of us love eating sizzlers, so that comes on a hot plate. And unless and until there's a hot surface, the sound will not come. So that is one sound which we do not include in a questionnaire on a regular basis unless and until it is a specific requirement of that particular product which we are asking the people to taste. There are other aspects about texture which you need to understand. Because of COVID, many of us have started enjoying baking. And when it comes to baking, we are now into baking our own cookies and cakes. We don't like to buy them. Because we say, well, we don't know what they are putting outside. They may be using margarine, trans fat. We like to bake it in butter. But I don't know if you've really realized the sensory implication, the impact of using butter instead of margarine. So here I'll tell you today, if you have two cookies, you can try it. If you have two cookies, one is baked in the same, everything, recipe is the same, okay? One is in butter, real butter, and the other is with margarine, vanaspati, trans fat. It comes, different grades come specifically for baking. What happens is, when you are eating it, again, it is, the temperature of the mouth is 37 degrees centigrade, and if it is the dairy product, the dairy butter, it will melt because whatever be the origin of the milk, it is cow milk or buffalo milk or goat milk or camel milk, the milk solids have got a melting point which is between 32 and 36. My body temperature is 37. So whatever butter is there inside the cookie is going to melt. It will melt and change the state from solid to liquid. And whatever flour is there inside the cookie will not get any surface on which it can stick. So the flour will mix with the saliva well and it will form a very nice pulp which you can easily swallow. But when it comes to cookies baked in margarine, what is margarine? It is plant origin. Plant origin fats, if it is refined oil, not a problem. Refined oil, even inside the fridge, is liquid only. But if it is a hydrogenated oil, then it is solid. And what is the melting point of that hydrogenated oil? If you Google it, you will get it around 55 degrees centigrade. Now, even if I'm having high temperature and the mouth is not at 37 but a higher degree, it will still not melt. So what will it do inside my mouth? Those tiny, tiny sticky surfaces will be there because of it, which are the fat, and the flour will have difficulty mixing with saliva and forming a nice pulp which is able to slip down my throat. Instead, they will form small masses which are sticking onto my palate, onto my teeth, and things like that. I have to, work hard to swallow those things, or maybe drink a sip of water to wash it off so that it gets guided to back of my throat and goes down my food pipe. It has an impact. So this is another thing. But when we eat ice creams, this is this is the difference between ice creams and the frozen desserts. Ice creams made from dairy milk, they are going to melt in your mouth. The joy comes from melting in the mouth. But the frozen desserts don't melt, they are made from trans fat. So these are the various, and another thing about texture. Oh, I've got here something to show you. I'm even finding it difficult to open. What is this? It is leather, right? Well, this is not leather, this is arm papad, a dehydrated arm papad. I got it from a village when I was coming down from Dalhousie to Pathankot. There is a village which is very famous for arm papad. They make arm papads with various degrees of moisture. So it looks like leather, and it is like leather when it is inside the mouth. But it's very good, huh? It slowly gives away. It dissolves very slowly in my mouth. It stays for a longer time. If I chew it, it's a different story, but I just want to keep it like a candy in my mouth, a natural thing which doesn't have the unnatural acids and no added sugar. It is a wonderful piece of candy in my mouth. So with this, and we asked you to get the sugar, but that's for you too. So we asked you to get the sugar just to teach you, experience the melt in the mouth. If you take the powdered sugar, assess how long it takes to melt on a scale of 1 to 7. Give it a value, say it melts quickly. 1 is low, 7 is high, intensity is higher, speed is higher, very fast. 6 I'll give. And this is the crystal sugar I needed. If you take time to mix with my saliva, I might even have to chew it, and then it will start melting. So the speed is slow. It matters in certain products, especially the ice creams. So if your ice cream is melting slowly, it is not pure milk. It has got trans fat. This is how you learn mindful eating. And what do? Arun takes over from here for the live tasting.
Okay, we can complete some question and answers first.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so there are a few questions that the attendants have asked. We'll just spend another 4 to 5 minutes to answer these questions, and then we'll move to the live tasting. So essentially, what you have learned today, we'll apply that by reviewing some real products. So there are two products, Uncle Chips and Lays, that we had asked the participants to be ready with, and the time has come for us to review those products onto the platform.
Only one. Only one.
Okay, yeah, so only one needs to be reviewed. So you can review from either Uncle Chips or the Lays. The link will be shared in the chat box by Tanvi. So while we're doing it, let's just go to the question and answers.
Shri Ganesh, right? Shri Ganesh has asked a very good question whether e-noses and e-tongues are kind of useful. They are indeed very useful, but since sensory is all a matter of perception, so there are two ways of looking at such robotics or scientific inventions. If you are to plot a product design in terms of purely in compositional attributional terms, what this product stands for, I think e-noses and robotics would do a pretty good job, as any discerning human being would do. But when it comes to preference, preference has variation, as you would have gathered during this whole session today. It has variation on account of genetic differences. Variations could be on account of culture, how we are brought up. Certain aromas are very pleasant to certain people, but same aromas are extremely unpleasant to other people. So, I think that part would never get resolved. Yes, there is a talk that these things can be captured via various databases, and AI and ML might even lead to preference cues. We've done various experiments over the past 2.5, 3 years. We work very actively with CSIR. They have a division called Institute of Genome and Integrative Biology, which is basically they are the DNA keepers to our nation. And our conclusion, along with their scientists, was that at compositional level, these things work very well. But when it comes to applying it to humans with so much of diversity in our genetics and the way we are brought up, our individual preferences, etc., and the combination of that, I think that's some long time off. Eventually, one day it might, but right now, no.
Second question is question by Dishan. MSG is available in India. I use it very frequently. When you say banned, I believe for the commercial use, is it banned?
So, MSG is not particularly bad, but when MSG is forced on a particular product, then the whole thing becomes questionable. So, why is it questionable? The way Rajpreeti explained to you, what is it leading to? It is leading to craveability. So if you have something that has umami in front of you, a potato wafer or instant noodles whose taste maker had umami taste in it, you can't hold your hand. So when you kind of subject your kids to such a situation, they are not at a stage wherein they can exert control over such impulses. So there is a very high possibility of kids overeating it, leading to lethargy and inactive sort of lifestyles. Right? So umami in its natural form is also available. There are ways of kind of extracting it. It boils down to slow cooking. Tomato has it. Most meat products, poultry products, they have it. Mushrooms have it. If you look at soy sauce, there are two types of soy sauce available in the world. There is one type which is kind of fermented in a natural form, which might take 12 to 18 months. And there is another form which you can kind of make in 3 to 8 hours. Like Kikoman, is particularly very proud of the fermentation process that they use. It's very interesting. Those of you who have interest in it might study the concept called Onjozo. We will soon be launching a educative program for them. When it comes to using chemicals to lift the food, that becomes questionable. Right? So there are companies like Ajinomoto, etc. They have the capabilities of even providing Ajinomoto MSG in a very sort of balanced form. Most countries accept it, but there are 33 other variants of MSG. Most of them come from Chinese manufacturers who have no history, no sort of efficacy performance which is laid out in their websites, etc., etc. So that's why it becomes a little difficult. So MSG, if used in natural form, is the best way to enjoy. But MSG, if used in added form, be very careful about the brand or supplier you are buying from. MSG, as I said, has 33 different names. All of those lead to some form of cravability. And as long as you know what you want and how to kind of manage cravability in a responsible way, it's okay.
Okay. So now there are some questions about how can we become a taste panelist or a tasters on TagTaste, or how can we engage more on such tastings on TagTaste. So this is what we are now going to start with. So first of all, we will share the presentation with you all. You can go through it, and if there are any questions, doubt, you can always reach out to us through TagTaste or through the email addresses that will be shared with you. Second, in order for anybody to become a taster on the TagTaste as a platform, they need to go through today's session that you already have gone through, and also complete 3 reviews on the platform, because then you will be able to understand the basic concepts around tastings and how is it done on our platform using the tools that we have developed. Once such tastings are done by the trained tasters for any company, then the reports are generated, which we'll discuss in another 10-15 minutes. And then using those reports, the company may take a decision to launch it in a specific market, or to go for a product improvements as suggested by the reports that are coming. So that is how you start your tasting assignments, and a lot can happen thereon. So we will request you to download and sign up on TagTaste application if you have not done already. We open the collaborations there, so any opportunity with respect to the product development, tastings, or even surveys or the polls or the insights where we give the knowledge, we share it on a very regular basis, on a daily basis. You can get all that information right on the platform itself. Now coming to the last part of about reviewing it on the platform. So we have shared a couple of links for Uncle Chips as well as Lay's Magic Masala in the chat box here. You just click on those links, it will take you to the product that is there with you for you to review. I'm now sharing the screens and taking you through how whatever you have learned here is actually transposed in the form of a questionnaire, and how is it reviewed on the platform. Once you have gone through it, then at your own leisure, do complete these tastings, and you will by this way you will be able to complete 1 such review, complete 2 more, and then you will be eligible to become a part of the paid tastings, which are essentially sponsored by the live companies for the products which are under development as well.
So payment is one part that usually appeals to the students who are studying. So some extra amount of pocket money always helpful. But what it exactly does, at a community level is you're better sort of informed in terms of how to judge food, how to make right choices. And we have top chefs from all over India. They also participate in these tastings, and sometimes their organizations forbid them from taking any fee, etc. So in such cases, we divert the fee to the charitable causes, for example, Akshay Patra or PMO fund. In future on the platform, we intend to provide charities that you feel very strongly about or you wish to support. So that would so we are developing a link with the help of Paytm that would allow you to kind of donate money, because it's against our tenets. If PepsiCo or Haldiram's or Dawat Rice is giving us a fee for the tasting, that fee has to go somewhere. Best is if it goes to the taster, and the second best option is it goes to some good charitable sort of cause, and there is no third option. We can't keep that money, right? So all commercial tastings are paid. We also support Government of India, farmers, and rising startups who are kind of showing some promise. We offer all services free of charge to these startups. In those cases, when it comes to tasters, we offer them to pay, but we are lucky that 80% of the tasters also join that cause, that if you aren't getting any money from these companies because you wish to support them, we would also do tasting free of charge. So that's how you build the communities. But we have absolutely no problem in even paying tasters who are contributing to the startups, to the government projects, etc., etc. Because the core thing for us is maintaining the integrity of tasting. The tasting, when it happens, it should kind of yield to some good outcome, honest tasting, honest feedback, feedback that requires time, it involves your concentration. So that's what we ask for. And training, as Arun said, 3 tastings. There is nothing magical about 3, but it is just that you would familiarize yourself with the navigational aspect of the app. For example, we don't list aromatics as like close-ended questions. You have to go on a sort of exploration of aromas and aromatics. It's a very interesting journey. If you have 5, 7, 10 minutes, spared, you enjoy, you kind of apply your mind, get to the bottom of everything, and it eventually leads to a good outcome for the companies and communities that we serve.
Okay, so if you click on the links that we had shared on the chat, you will reach either Uncle Chips Plain Salted or Lay's India Magic Masala page. So I have opened Uncle Chips. This is where you will see the reviews which are done by the people, and you can also start reviewing the product yourself. So just click on the review now button. It will take you to the first page, which is essentially the instructions. So every single section or the page that you will see will have instructions. There can be some help articles for some specific questions as well, and I will just quickly show it to you how it looks. So you click on the next. On the screen, there is an optional section for you to take a selfie with the product. We highly recommend you to take some. This is essentially to prove that you have actually reviewed the product, and it proves the authenticity of your reviews. You click on the next. Now the sections that we had learned in this session today will come. So there are 5 sections that comes. First section is about the appearance that you're seeing on your screens right now. We ask you the questions based on the physical aspects, the things that you are sensing directly in this section. And at the end of it, at the end of the page, for every single section, you will get a questions on the overall preference of that particular section. So there are 5 sections. First is the appearance, in which you look at the product, answer the questions, and tell whether you like the appearance or not on a 7-point scale. So the first 3 points that you see here are the if you dislike the product. So you select 1, which is dislike extremely, 2, which is dislike moderately, 3, which is dislike slightly. But if you don't know whether you like or dislike, can't say, so it is 4. 5 is like slightly, 6 is like moderately, and 7 is like extremely. So this is the hedonic 7-point scale that we follow. So the first section is appearance. You look at the product, you answer the questions which are there, and then you tell whether you like the appearance or not. And in this section, you don't have to eat the product. Then you click on the next. It will take you to the aroma section, which is where you have to smell the product and then tell what all aromas have you sensed. And then there will be a question whether you like the aroma or not on exactly the 7-point scale. Then you press next. This is where the taste section will come. Now you are expected to eat the product. So in the first 2 sections, you are not supposed to eat the product. In the third section, which is taste, you are supposed to eat the product. Then that will be followed by aromatics to flavor. So there you will have to put the product in your mouth, keep your mouth shut, chew it sometimes, and then and while pinching your nose, and then release the nose without opening your mouth. So suddenly you will feel the gush of aromatics that you will feel, and you have to identify all the aromatics that you found and answer that. And then at the end of the section, you will answer whether you like the aromatics or not. Then the 5th section is about the texture of the product, and finally the overall product experience. That you eat the product normally, do not care about its appearance, aroma, the way you normally eat. Answer the questions which are asked, and then give the overall product experience preference, whether you like the overall experience about the product or not. So 6 sections, 5 related to the individual attributes, appearance, aroma, taste, aromatics to flavor, texture, and the sixth one is the overall product experience. And once you submit the questionnaire and you see a sign successfully submitted, that's where you complete your sensory reviews. So that's how it happens. I'll just quickly take you through two sections because it's important that you look at it and understand it before you do it yourself. So what is the serving temperature of the potato chips? So if you're eating it very cold or hot, of course there will be an impact in terms of the taste or texture.
Learn button.
Yeah. So at the top of every section, you will find a learn button. So if you click on it, there will be instructions. It can be text, it can be infographics, it can be videos. There can be some instructions with respect to the specific questions. And here an I sign will come if there is an instruction. Some questions are single select, some are multi select like this. In some of the questions, there can be some photographs to give you a better understanding. So assess the color of the potato chips under the bright light. Which of the following are the best match for the potato chips on your plate? So you look at it and then select some answer. In some of the questions, there can be some intensity level. So it is very simple. As you go on and clicking, you will be able to understand it better. And then once you click on the next, there is a section of aroma. Now we have more than 1100 aromas listed in this particular product. You can either go click on these overall sections and then try to find out the aroma within them and then provide the intensity of that aroma that you were able to smell jalapeno, but what was the intensity for that is what you select, or alternatively you can directly click on the search aromas.
If you are sure that you already know the aroma.
Correct. And then try to find out that aroma and click on the intensity that you observe. Since you can sense multiple aromas, so this has got a multiple choice answers. You can select more than one aroma. If you are unable to find the aroma that you're looking for, you can click on any other and then provide it in your own words and then select the intensity and then press done. If you didn't feel any aroma at all, you select absent. So likewise, you complete all the sections and press submit. Once you are done with it, this is where your tastings are complete. Okay, you all can start it because the time is less. What we can do is we can review some other product. Right? Because they won't be able to complete this time. Okay. So we might overshoot by 5-7 minutes. So let's just wait for another 5-10 minutes. You complete your tastings. So how if we are able to complete some 2-3 reviews by that time, some 2-3 people, if you are able to do, we'll review the results here itself. So we can start.
It will complete the cycle. It will give you an opportunity to see the work that you put in, the concentration, the knowledge that you have, what it kind of leads to. It will be good if we are able to do it today. And then you are independent. And some of you asked about the platform. The platform is very interactive. There are activities which are backed by very good companies, startups to large corporates. Then there are activities that we conduct with various premier bodies like CSIR on the side of super tasting, Indian Federation of Culinary Associations, World Association of Chefs. So there's plenty of action all the time, and morning usually starts with a poll, and our polls are what we call informed polls. You get a background, which doesn't take more than 2.5 minutes to read, and then it prompts you to kind of register your response. Everything is anonymous, But should you wish to post a comment on the poll, it's always welcome. You have a view. You may agree, disagree, or you may have extended views beyond what the poll is covering. So those things are always kind of welcome. So we do one poll from our side, but in the coming weeks, coming months, you would also see a lot of institutions, companies participating, and it's free of charge. And those who are entrepreneurs, who are struggling with an issue, you want an honest response, you can't afford a marketing research, please go ahead, post the poll. And if you want any specific responses, if you want responses from chefs or food technologists, just drop in a line. We'll get all that data for you. No charges for startups, no charges for researchers, students. So you don't have to worry about the commercials in such tools.
And one more thing, you won't be able to change the reviews once you have uploaded it. You won't be able to also upload your photograph. So this is done to ensure the sanctity of the data remains there. We may choose not to take your reviews for the report building, probably because you reviewed the wrong product or at the wrong temperature. But that is the prerogative with the sensory team which generate the report for the clients. But from a taster's perspective, once you have completed the review, you cannot go ahead and edit it yourself.
So what Arun meant by rejection of poll was, let's say you are doing a review of Pepsi Cola, and that's why the first question is always about temperature integrity. And if you are testing Pepsi at let's say room temperature, the chances are that the sensory analytics that you would carry out from there on would be flawed, and it would be like a disservice to the review. So our backend then captures all those things which mainly imply precautions or instructions, and if those instructions are not followed, so those responses automatically are weeded out of the analytics. That's what. So there's no human discretion involved. It's just like the instruction that's very closely associated with the product in question.
Sonia, there is a share button. So for every single article that you see on our app, you can share it on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. So that would be and WhatsApp also. Like, you just click on the share button. So Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, you can copy the link and paste it somewhere. You can share it on your feed, all the messages within that. All those options are available.
If they want to practice on their own.
Uh, so for those people who are interested, we have a section on the product reviews. So if you are on the website, just go on the review button, click here. So you will be able to see based on different categories, based on different collections that we have created.
So review section is actually for people who are aspiring to become professional tasters. So sitting at your home, products that are widely available. So we keep loading these forms based on their launches, etc., etc. But all the R&D tasting that happens remains on private threads. So those private threads are available or visible rather to the company that has sponsored, because no company would like their R&D stuff product which is yet to be launched, or product which is undergoing any transformation, be visible in the public listing. But these are public reviews, and those of you who are desirous of checking out product or hone up your skills, so feel free to choose. There are like thousands of listings up there. In our case, the listing is a very big thing, because each farm is very product specific. So before we list any product on the public or private sort of threads, our sensory research team has to evaluate the product, make the farm compatible to that product. So Britannia Little Heart could be very different from Nestle Kit Kat, as an example. Shikanji is very different from Ruh Afza. There could be some common attributes that, of course, can't be changed, but an effort is made to kind of incorporate very product specific attributes, and this then helps us in kind of coming very close to, because if you have layers and layers of detailing, right, then the bias part gets minimized. Bias can never be removed wherever human beings are involved, but statistically we have proven, and people we work with, top global, national, international research institutions, so they love this detailed approach that we follow. There are some forms which might even have 70 questions, but the situation demands so. So for example, these days we are doing Chana Bhatura analytics for Haldirams, and that's the most complex thing that has ever been designed, because you need feedback, and products which are overly familiar to consumers require more rigor and vigor compared to the products which are nascent or just getting introduced, because there are no biases. People are testing it for the first time, right? They are acquiring that taste. So those are kind of very unidirectional reviews. But products like your vada pav or bhel puri in Western region, chana bhatura, raj kachori, or chaat, or motichur laddu, they are very complex, very complex. Yeah, and you can post your collaborations, anything that you wish out of people. You could be food entrepreneur, you could be part of some R&D team. Companies use this thread. So, for example, yesterday pasta tasting notification was loaded for us, for a spice company, Chakde. So this is a private thread, but your public thread would be slightly different, but it's very user friendly. It would you won't require any outside help to apply for that. Do you have some reports? Trupti, since people are busy doing their reviews, you can do it whenever your time permits. So what we can do is, yesterday we conducted a session for culinary students from all over India. They reviewed Kit Kat. So we'll quickly walk you Kit Kat. What's the final
Sure.
sort of.
So here we were able to capture 99 reviews, and so as we start analyzing the final reports, two things immediately comes into the attention. First is the sensogram that we create, which is on the right side. So essentially the five attributes, the five sections that we reviewed, which were appearance, aroma, taste, aromatics to flavors, and texture. So for all the 99 people who have reviewed this form, we took a simple average of the responses on appearance and then showed it over here. So we got a response of 6.1 out of 7. For aroma, it was 5.79 out of 7. For taste, 5.99. For aromatics to flavor, 5.91. For texture, 5.91. And in the last section of the overall product experience, the average rating was 6.06 out of 7. Now what happens is this becomes the first place which gives us the idea on whether the particular target audience which reviewed the product liked it or not. So if it is a product under development, the company may say that we want the feedback from females between the age group of 25 and 45 from Delhi. Now the review that such target demographic will give may differ very much if we do the same set like females 25 to 45 years of age, but from Kolkata. Why? Because the people from Delhi have a very different palate in comparison to the people from Kolkata. Here, people may like a little spicier product. There, people may have a little sweeter palate. So the responses that you will see in terms of the forms will be that for any spicy product, that both Delhiites as well as Kolkataites will say that the product was spicy. But Delhi people may say that they like the product, while Kolkata people may say that they dislike the product or they didn't like it that much. And that is immediately reflective in terms of the sensograms that you're seeing over here. Second thing also, since we keep on reviewing a lot of different products, especially the products under development from startups and MNCs, we also keep a track with them on the sales data and are able to identify, are able to correlate the sensory data, the output that we have got with the sales number. And the way we do it is through the rank correlation method. So in which the expected sales is actually compared with the actual sales, which is then rank correlated with the sensory output that you're seeing right now to see whether if the product was found to be good in terms of the sensory analysis, whether the sales were also good or not. Or let's say if the reviews were not that great, so ideally the sales should also not be that great. So does it match or not? So in our case, we have 93% rank correlation between the sensory reviews that we get through this methodology and the actual sales which is out there. And what we have also been able to establish is for different product categories, we have been able to identify certain benchmark scores. So for example, just as a ballpark figure, let's say Ayurvedic drinks, Ayurvedic beverages, if they are coming out, their cutoff score becomes 4.8 out of 7. So we will not recommend any company which is scoring less than that score to launch the product into the market. Ideally, they should go for a product improvement. But if the score reaches that point, they're good to go. This score can vary from product category to product category. For Ayurvedic beverages, it can be 4.8, but for burgers, it can be 5.2. So all these number crunching, the target cutoffs, etc., we are able to find out by analyzing the real sales data with the sensory data that we get. Now, coming on to a little deeper aspect here, let's say assuming that the scores were not that high, and let's say the aroma score was very less, aromatic score was very less. Then we go to click on the view full report and we analyze this final report to find out the cues about what can be done for us to improve the product further. So here the summary of all the responses that you get for each individual questions comes. So in this case, how did you get the product picked up from the neighborhood store? What was the serving temperature of the product at the room temperature, which is fine? How is the visual impression of the product? So 39% people felt it was matte, 36% people felt it was bright. Now this can be compared with whether the company actually wanted this appearance to be there. So if the company wanted, let's say, a little darker appearance, it is definitely not coming out to be so. So they can go back and have a look at it. But let's analyze a little bit more interesting aspect here by comparing the aroma with aromatics. So what we discussed in the session today was if the product is being created right, you are using the organic compound, no synthetic material, etc., or the preparation methodology is also good. Ideally, the aroma values should be less than aromatics. So which means if I am smelling the product through my nose, the aromas that I am able to identify and their respective intensities should be lower than the aromatics value, which is I am smelling from within the mouth. So in this product, for example, in KitKat, 50% of the respondents were able to identify the chocolate aroma. And if you look at the intensity, it was 4.82 out of 7. So ideally, in a normal product, the products which do well in the market, this value in aromatics should be higher. So 50%, 50.51% people identified with 4.82 intensity of chocolate. Let's look at the aromatics value. So 43% people, only 43% people were able to identify, but with a higher intensity of 5.02. So this is ideally not the best situation to be in. Both the percentage of the people who were able to identify it as well as the intensity of the principal ingredient should at least be higher. Then it becomes one of the areas for the companies to ponder upon. They might be not using the right ingredients, or the ingredients might be might have gone bad and would have lost their potency. They might not be using the organic material, or there might be some problem in the way they were preparing the products. And it gives one aspect of the investigation where we can actually go ahead and further improve the products. Similarly, if we look at the taste aspect here, 95% people are able to identify the sweet taste at an intensity of 5.21. Whenever we get such a high skewed kind of a number, we immediately go out and look at the labels of the product. Here in KitKat, if you look at it, 1/3 is the composition of your sugar in the list of the ingredients. So which essentially means it has a very high level of the sugar in the product, and that's why the people were able to identify the sweetness at this level. They may still like the product, but is it something that the regulators will appreciate, or is it something that the community going forward will also appreciate or not? That the jury is still out, and that can become a question of concern in times to come. There is a very high, for example, pressure in the Coke or Pepsi or the cola industry because of the high amount of sugar that they are putting in the drinks, and there is already a pushback. It will not be limited to just the cola. It will definitely trickle down to other product categories as well. And if you're developing some product right now, probably it might make sense for you to review your decisions with respect to the ingredients and the processes that you're putting in the product that you have developed. So these are some highlights, the way we analyze the data. There is one more thing. There is a possibility for us to look at the individual responses also. So for example, as we click the photographs, so you can see the individual reviews, but they have put in their comments, the overall product experience that they have written, and you can also put a comment. A notification will go to the user, and then they can come back and respond to that comment, and you will be able to start talking to them. Since all the private threads which are done, you have to mandatorily go for OTP verified email and phone number. So we have the traceability with respect to who reviewed the products, and the consent is taken from the tasters to share those numbers with the company which is sponsoring it. But there are necessary privacy controls here, that your personally identifiable information will not be visible to any other person on the platform. But if you're taking part in a paid tastings and you have given the consent for the numbers etc. to be shared, so from the company's point of view, at least they have the traceability to reach out to you to further probe you, or should they go for the next version of the product, they can engage you back again to review the latest version of the product to get the feedback whether they have been able to fix the product now or not. So this is very quick analysis in which we can review a product. We can compare two products here. We can find the product pairing. So we completed an exercise where we paired the products of Pepsi with those of Burger King to find the right combo that can be given to the end consumers. And there are many other ways in which we can use these sensory analysis to achieve the business objectives. From the user's point of view, from your point of view, the process will remain same. And if there are some additional information that you need for a specific product categories, so we do have the sessions like today where we delve into that particular ingredient, their nutritional aspects, their economical aspects, and how can you use those ingredients to come up with your own new product ideas. And then the floor can also be open for the community to come up with the recipes and the ideas which are then presented to the companies to be taken to the market. So all those things are possible, and the building block with which we start from the consumer's point of view, from your point of view, are the reviews like this which we have completed today. So I hope with that we have been able to show you a bit of the idea of the commercial angle of it, how the reports are analyzed. There is a lot to be learned, and we would recommend you to come back again and again, look at the collaborations, come for the reviews in order to hone your skills and take it to the next level. Thank you.
Shruti,
Yeah, just wiping the chips off. The session was really very nice. I do see a lot of people had to step away because of other commitments, but looks like everyone really enjoyed it. I do see a few people just like me who have finished the review. So probably once we have the details out, we can, with our thank you emailers, we can send a snapshot of that as well, if you guys are okay with that.
absolutely. To encourage them to kind of log on to the app, keep doing stuff. It's very interactive. There are no conditions, no bottlenecks, starting from poll to tasting opportunities to learning opportunities. So currently, for example, we are running a thread on fruits, right? Art, science, culinary economics related to fruits, in collaboration with Dole. Dole is world's largest fruit companies, one of the largest food companies that has kind of entered India very recently. Next one that's coming up is Kikoman. So we keep doing such interesting things, which we try to make it open to all, and the community members, students, homemakers, alongside chefs and food technologists, which companies usually run after.
I have been obviously very active on the app thanks to the messages that you keep sending me. So I keep checking the articles and everything, and it's really, really informative. So any points from Sanket, please?
I would actually recommend TiE to share the polls of TagTaste regularly, and in fact take a cue from their polls for your other departments as well. And thank you so much, Jaspal, Raj, Preeti, and Arun, for doing such a lovely session and introducing all of us from the food community and the non-food community to things beyond just taste. So this was wonderful for us. Your closing comments.
Thank you for your time. We are, very, very excited to be building a relationship with TiE Mumbai. I think it started same time last year, but that time it was more at an individual level. it was a session that you conducted. Very happy to kind of get involved at the platform level. Our platform is nothing but the community, and the moment you come on board, we are like all part of the same community. So it will be very good for us to kind of keep doing stuff that's not only interesting, but most importantly has an impact on entrepreneurs. We, all of us as consumers, right? Companies getting right feedback, because there is no point in being reactive towards each other. Companies need to do well. They need to exist in the universe, and our method is to kind of give them rational feedback, and that's why despite being our customers, most of our companies are very open to very critical feedback that comes their way through our platform. So we'll be very happy to kind of take this to the entrepreneurs who are members of TiE. Thank you for your time, attention, and patience today.
And one request to everybody, if you are like aware of any institutions, colleges and schools in Mumbai who will be interested in these kind of sessions, we will be happy to do it for them. We have started doing it for schools also in addition to the colleges. So like if you have your alma maters are there, you want them to get the session done, do get in touch with us.
We work very closely with universities and schools. So
Oh, great.
let me speak with the connects and get back on that.
Yeah,
I think that would be wonderful.
Definitely. Thank you.
Just saw
Thank
a
you,
question.
sir.
Just saw a comment about the email. So we can be reached at contact@TagTaste, or you can just sign up on the application, look at our profile, send the messages there. We'll also share the presentation. It will have the email addresses, etc., of the team there with you. So anybody can reach out to us from any of these places.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much,
Thank
Jaspal.
you.
Thank you so much, Raj.
Bye.
Thank you,
Thank
Arun.
you.
Thanks, Tanvi. Bye, guys.
Bye, Tanvi.
Yeah, bye Tanvi, thank you.
Tanvi, Shashti.
50
Bye,
also.
Shashti.
Bye.